Bank America because they bought Countrywide. Had nothing to do with what Countrywide was doing before they bought it, but they bought Countrywide, so now Bank America is responsible for everything that Countrywide did beforehand when Countrywide was only adhering to government rules. And they didn't work. So now we're going to sue Bank America. And you got people out there saying, yeah, Bank America screwed people. I'm like, are you kidding me? Bank America had nothing to do with it. They just bought the mess because the government says if you want us to help you in any kind of way, if you're going to get any sort of financial trouble like a lot of other banks are, you got to buy this Countrywide, which is going under. And if it goes under, the government, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, is screwed, and we won't allow that to be screwed, so you got to buy them if you want help. It was kind of like it was a hostage situation. Wasn't bribery, close to it. So now, the government says, aha, we're going to sue you for what they did. Because we told them to do what they did, and they did it, and it didn't work, so it's not really our fault, it's their fault. But you bought them because we told you to buy them, and now we're going to sue you. You got to be kidding. You don't give a mortgage to somebody that can't pay the mortgage back. Like people with C and D credit. I mean, they had credits, 460 credit score, buying houses. You can't even buy a car. Well, you really couldn't even buy a car. You couldn't buy a piece of furniture to go in the damn house if you had a credit score of 460. But they could buy a house. And not only could they buy the house with a credit of 460, they could do it with less than $5,000 out of their own pocket. In many cases, less than $1,000 out of their own pocket. And even in some cases, even that could be borrowed or given to them as gifts from family. I mean, people literally were walking into houses that they'd put nothing down out of their own pocket from their own labor, getting 110% financing on the house. And then, everybody thought, since the economic conditions are such that the price of houses, the values of houses are going to keep going up. So even if they default on their mortgage, their house is going to eventually be worth more than the mortgage they have. Nobody stopped to think, maybe there's a bubble, and at some point this real estate value bubble is going to burst, and it did. And then all of a sudden, it seemed like overnight, home values plummeted 20%. So basically, the person that had a $100,000 house and they got a mortgage for $110,000, now that house was suddenly worth $80,000. But yet they still owed $110,000. And people were saying, I can't keep paying this. It's not worth anything anymore. And they would walk away. And what are banks supposed to do? Just sit there and let them live there for free? After some people got to live in their houses without paying a dime in mortgage payments for over 2 years. And the liberal left wants to blame mortgage holders for foreclosing. This person has lived 2 years rent-free and they still don't have any money? We were seeing that all the time. Yeah, I haven't paid my mortgage in like 2 years. You have any money saved up? No. I have nowhere to go. Wait. You haven't paid anything. You've been living for, rent-free. You didn't even put anything aside? I mean, even just, even if your mortgage was $1,500 a month, and you couldn't afford the $1,500, did you even think to put $100 a month aside? No, they didn't even think to do that. But we're supposed to feel sorry for those people. When those kinds of people were a part of the problem and dragging down the value of people's homes that were responsible and trying to pay the mortgage off. And to some degree, even not everybody who got one of those sweetheart deal mortgages walked away from it. There were people that literally worked their tookishes off to pay off because they felt responsible. And they were trying to pay it off. Well, there were lots of those people, but unfortunately not enough. No, it's never. Well, they didn't know all this legal mumbo jumbo that was in the contracts. Well, first of all, they have to put all that legal mumbo jumbo in there that way because the government says that they have to do it. And two, I thought that people, when they buy a house, they have a lawyer. The bank has a lawyer. The home buyer doesn't have the lawyer. And if they do have a lawyer, the lawyer didn't read the stuff for them because their lawyer is supposed to be protecting them. I mean, it's kind of like there was a business opportunity that came to me not too long ago. And, they emailed me the contract. I read it. Oh, I guess that's kind of strange, huh? I actually read the whole thing. And I said, you know what? This is a very interesting opportunity, but I can't do it because you've got certain things in there that will tie my hands. And you know what I got? Well, it doesn't really refer to you. And most people don't even bother to read it. I said, that's why I do read it. And if it doesn't really refer to me, why do you have it in there? Take it out. No, we can't do that. I guess we can't do business together then. It's that simple and easy. It's not difficult to protect yourself. You just got to read stuff. But no, everybody thinks that we need to have the government do it for us. What, are you kidding me? Government can't. Government is part of the problem. They can't protect you. Listen, the only way the government protects you is after the fact. It's kind of like the police. Now I'm not dissing our police departments anywhere in the country, but think about this for a second. Seeing how the police cannot be everywhere at a single time. What is their main function? Their main function, as they like to say, is prevention and enforcement of prevention of crime and enforcement of the law. That is not their main function. Their main function is to investigate and punish after the law has been broken. That's their main purpose. Because most of the time, you are a victim of a crime before the police get there. So who's protecting you? The police? No, you! You're your first line of defense in everything. Not the government. That's what I'm trying to illustrate. You! And every time we try to implement laws to protect stupid people, it ends up hurting the general public and business when there's no need for it. It's called government regulation, otherwise known as red tape. Red tape costs lots and lots and lots of money. And you think, well, it doesn't cost anything. Oh, yeah, it does. And when it pertains to business, you pay the price. Well, you pay the price in higher fees and in higher cost and fewer jobs. That's the logical stuff, folks. That's. I don't even know why anybody tries to you can't dispute it. We see it. Well, the only people that don't really see it are liberal socialists who might work for a private non-profit entity. You get people. Well, you hear business owners. People interview business owners. Well, why aren't you hiring? You have all this cash thinking, profit. Why aren't you hiring? the cash that we have is not meant to hire other people. It's meant to be reinvested in the business. And if that reinvestment includes expanding our workforce so we can make even more profit, then that is what we will do. The problem is we don't know what the tax situation for our company is going to be. And it looks like it's going to be higher. And you've got business owners out there and business executives telling their employees that if certain things do not change and come about on January 1st, that some of the people employed will lose their jobs because the company will not be able to afford to keep them. Obamacare. Look, understand, every business, I don't care even if it says it's nonprofit, every single business is in the business to make a profit. Because even if you're I can't believe I have to keep explaining this. But every time I explain it face to face to a liberal, they still, for some reason, don't get it. The point is, every single business, including a nonprofit, is in the business to make a profit because it is those profits that allow them to do what they want to do. If you're a nonprofit organization, the profit that you make allows you to do the programs that you support. If you are a for-profit entity, your main thrust is one, to reinvest in the business to grow it, two, give your shareholders or your owners a good return on their money. And if they can't do both of those things, well, then they end up going out of business. I don't know how. It's not a difficult concept, but for some reason, liberal socialists cannot wrap their minds around that. But I will keep trying. I will keep trying to educate, because that's what I'm here for. It's just such. The educational system in our country, it is so bad that we don't even give basic economic education in public schools anymore. People don't know how to write a check. Well, nobody writes checks anymore. Yeah, they do. Besides that, writing the check is part of knowing how to balance your account. I don't know how to balance my account. Well, even if you don't, especially since you don't have a paper trail by writing checks, you need to learn how to balance your account. Well, my card still works, so I got to have money in it. No. Kind of like the old, well, I still got checks in my checkbook, so I must still have money. Well, no, my card still works, so I must have money. No, that is not always the case. Then people get, then they blame the bank for large overdraft fees. Well, if you weren't cutting it so close to the edge when you didn't have. Now, for people that really do live paycheck to paycheck, sometimes I can understand that. But if you don't like the fees that your bank is charging you, switch banks. It's not that hard. But no, you want, instead of switching the bank, you just want government to restrict all banks from doing anything and allow you to get away with murder. Look, I've in my lifetime, I've suffered overdraft fees. And let me tell you, that hurts. So you got to learn not to put yourself in a position where you're going to be that low. Stop living paycheck to paycheck. If you got a regular source of income, it can be pretty easy not to do that. But it takes discipline. And it takes knowledge and know-how. But most importantly, it takes discipline. And I know the American people look at our government and say, well, our government doesn't have discipline. They keep spending money like it's going out of style, so why can't I? The big thing is that you go to jail for printing money. Our government prints it anytime they want. That's the difference.
On September 11th, 2012, on the anniversary of 9/11, terrorists attacked the United States consulate in Benghazi, Libya? Would an American president hide the truth for political gain?